And we are back again on another Explain Strange. And on this one, it's going to be a little different. First of all, I'm not going to do what I did on the last one, which was the last one I decided to go ahead and do some kind of strange little test and try to call out the names of some of the people that were. I'm not going to say haunting. A lot of people would probably use the word haunting, and I'm not going to say haunting. I'm just going to say I decided to call out the name. So this episode here is episode 2. All right, so we're in episode 2. Now, with that being said, episode 2 is Ouija. So we're going to explore the Ouija board. Now, let's see exactly what happens with the Ouija board. Count 3, and we'll be right back. Okay, now we're back. Before we get started, I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and explain, give you an update on what happened in the last episode. The last episode was Dreaming the Dead. That was the actual first episode of Explain Strange. So I did the experiment. As some of y'all who watched remember the experiment, and the experiment was uh, I wanted to see if I mean, I was having these dream activities. First of all, let me just tell you what it was. I was having experiences with people from my past, and I mean, I'm talking about friends. I'm talking about some were family, and that was the whole idea behind dreams. The dreaming the dead. And reason being is because I wanted to know more or less why we dream the dead. But not only that, why we dream the dead of so many different people like that you haven't seen in 30 years, 20 years, or whatever. And I had some that came in. So uh, I thought since I was having this issue, I wanted to see if any of you had. And I did get some correspondence with a few. And I thank you very much for, of course, getting back with me and telling me on your experience. Uh, I'm not going to name names here because I will eventually. It's just that I don't want to, you know, upset anybody or kind of bring up any stir up any webs or anything like that. But if you go to YouTube Explain Strange and you look for the Dreaming the Dead, look at the bottom in the comments there, and there was one uh, comment that was left that particularly had to do exactly with what the topic of Dreaming the Dead podcast was. So I gave her some insight, and I hope it helped her, and I hope it did help you, and maybe it did. I don't know. But getting back on what I was going to say, now this is why I'm saying I'm hoping it helped you. What I did, for those of you who were not uh, did not join the podcast, what I did, I decided to name a few of the ones that were coming in my dreams, and there were periodically, and what was happening, they were coming periodically. If you want to watch Dreaming the Dead, and then you'll get the whole picture, because I'm just trying to throw it out there, just so you can understand what I'm getting ready to tell you here. But I suggest you watch the whole podcast, and that way you have a better idea. But the people that were coming in my dreams, and I was wondering why they all come in like at the same time, and it was like in a 2.5 month period, and I'm like, man, what am I getting ready to go next or what? I don't know. So I decided I'm going to name some of them. And we're not talking moms and dads and all brothers, sisters, cousins, close people. I was talking about people that I haven't seen in years, like from the old school, from the old neighborhood and stuff like that. And I'm talking about over 20 years. So I was kind of wondering why were they coming in my dreams? Were they trying to give me messages? It wasn't like they were talking to me, telling me, "Hey, you better watch this." It wasn't nothing like that. And uh, so what I did was I decided I picked a few of them, and I said I'm going to name some names, and I'm going to see if I call these names out. And I did this in the last podcast, Dreaming the Dead. And I said if I call these names out, I want to know if something's going to change or what's going to happen. So an uh, answer to that question was the results were I haven't dreamed them. When I mentioned them, it was like I'm guessing maybe it found closure between them and me. I don't know. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I know I'm shooting in here 5 minutes already, and I'm over here talking about the last episode, but let's go ahead and jump into the new episode. But again, those of y'all who watched the video, thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate that. Those of you who haven't, I urge you to watch it. I think you'll get a kick out of it. It might have some. It might pertain to you. And a lot of the information that is on that video, I got most of that material I got from professors and stuff like that I read up on YouTube or Google. I'm sorry. So, but now we're going to get into one other thing, and from another listener or watcher, I'm sorry, podcast watcher, was wanting to know what this was. If a lot of you don't know what this is, and maybe it's not like it's zoomed in or anything. But the reason I wear this is my combat engineer castle. And that's what this is. Most of the people in the military, I was in the Army, they know what this is. So it's the insignia that I wore on my uniform. So I kind of keep it with me a lot of places I go. And I think this was the one I had on my dress screens. So when I was really stepping out. Nah, I didn't do that much. Anyway, it's a engineer's castle. So those of y'all who asked and the one who pointed it out, you know who you are, and said that you took about 5 minutes trying to figure out what this was on there. It's an engineer's castle from the United States Army Corps of Engineers. Okay. Now going on, Ouija. The topic of Ouija. The meaning is etymology. The popular belief that the word Ouija comes from French and German words for yes is a misconception. In fact, the name was given from a word spelled out on the board when medium Helen Peters, Nosworthy, asked the board to name itself. When asked what the word meant, it responded, "Good luck." Think about that. She said, "Name yourself," and it spelled out Ouija. She said, "What does that mean?" And it said, "Good luck." Okay. Now, I wanted to know what the symbols were. Well, the only main symbols were there. It's here. The main symbols were the only things that I saw was the sun on one side, and then I saw the moon on the other side. Well, it says yes on the sun side, but it says no on the moon side. The sun actually represents gold, accordingly, from what I understand, and the moon is supposed to represent silver. A, a, I don't know. I better be cool. A talking board is a board printed with letters and symbols that uses a sliding pointer to spell out the messages in a mysterious way. The board that became Ouija was born in 1886 in Chestertown, Maryland, and named in 1890 in Baltimore, where it was first manufactured. I don't know. Earlier it said something about French and German. I'm not. I don't know. I think there's a lot of misconception in here. I tried to do as much research as I could on the board, but I don't know. I mean, let's keep going. The planchette is a small board supported on casters, typically heart-shaped and fitted with a vertical pencil, used for automatic writing in seances. So that, of course, is the one that goes on top. You put your hands on it, and whoever's going to be asking the questions or something, you do a seance, and apparently it does answer some of the questions. Seances, of course, for those who don't know, is a meeting in which people attempt to make contact with the dead, especially through the agency of a medium. So I guess what I'm trying to say, or I guess what this is trying to say, I'm sorry, is uh, uh, Ouija board should be used with a medium or something like that. And it's kind of like something I think you should have somebody who knows what they're doing. So, then remember, it did say agency of a medium. Okay. Agency makes me think of, I don't know, maybe a law firm or, I don't know. So, who's to say there isn't a medium firm or agency? Get it? Okay. So, all I know is that I would love to have a bona fide medium to join our podcast. I really tried to get one to step in, but I gave all the hints, but nobody stepped up. I guess people are afraid to come out on a podcast unless it's going to be a podcast of 1,000,001, viewers or something. I don't know. I mean, whatever. I'm not a medium, so I didn't I didn't go and get the board and try to utilize it on here on this podcast because I did want to do that, but I decided not to. Now, what exactly does a Ouija board do? All right, so now it's according to this, it says you got to have a medium and whatnot. So I want to know, what does it do? All right, what it does. According to one of the definitions, it's called a talking board. Okay, in what way? So I'm guessing, according to what I've seen on TV and stuff, I mean, you ask it questions and everything. So what is it, like a spirit box? Those of you who familiar with the spirit box, is it like that? Does the board answer? Does the board answer questions, ramble, random words, or guess my weight? Maybe, I don't know. So I know, and I'm pushing it, right? You be careful what you ask this thing. Now that's why I didn't bring one, because if I would have had one here, I would have been asking some crazy questions, and I think I would have been, I mean, pull something out of it or something, like you see in the movies and stuff, like Goosebumps or something there. What? I see some of the ghost hunt shows on traveling, the channels, or the science fiction ones or Discovery channels or whatever, and some veer as far away as possible from the board. But there are some psychic mediums that have no fear in using them, and I'm thinking those are the actual mediums that were the agents, agencies. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. So also, I do notice that when these boards are used, it is usually in a location that is known for having haunted history, such as, well, the Lizzie Borden house. And can you think of a house or a location that you would like to take a Ouija board in there and use? I mean, I'm thinking Bob Mackey's. I mean, but anyway, I guess the mediums have a different, fear threshold or some. So me to fear in any environment, I don't know. Mediums, I kind of see them the same way. I see mediums as they don't really have a fear, man. Those guys are, when you see the things that they do on some of the shows and whatnot, so, I mean, who's to say, all I can tell you is I'm not going to get in, mess with a lot of different things. Some of us do, some of us don't. And I don't know, just, so let me ask you on your thoughts. What are your thoughts of the Ouija board? Do you, have you had any experiences with it? Have you ever used a Ouija board? Do you believe in the Ouija board? Is this something that you believe in your mind and your heart that it's just nonsense? Or do you say that, well, I don't believe in it, but I don't believe I want to mess with it? I mean, I don't know. Tell me what your view and what your thoughts are, or your feelings about the Ouija board, because everybody has different thoughts, misconceptions. I don't know, so I want to know yours. Make sure you get with me and let me know. Tell me what yours are. Tell me what you think about it. Now, I'm going to tell a story, okay? And right now I kind of felt like I ain't got no board in here, okay? I ain't trying to disrespect. So, okay? No, I didn't call nobody. I didn't call nobody. All right, story. And this story involves a Ouija board. I'm not saying I never used one because I'm going to give you the story right now of when I did use a Ouija board. There was a time where I think I was about 10 or 11 maybe. And my cousins, they lived in a house that it was haunted. I mean, it wasn't haunted where, you know, people were getting hurt or anything like that. It wasn't like, I don't know, I can't say it wasn't poltergeist. It just was, people weren't getting hurt, slapped, scratched, nothing like that. But they were living there. They lived there quite a few years. And I remember whenever we would spend a night, it was like we would sleep in the den. It had a den. It had a living room on one side, but they had this den. The den was connected to the kitchen. It had a sliding door, one of them sliding doors. And then the bedrooms were in the back. So that's where my uncle and aunt would sleep back there. And we would all sleep in the front or whatever. And my cousins, their bedrooms were in the back too. But they would, it's happened every time. It wasn't once in a while. Every time at night, we'd be sitting there talking or whatever, getting ready for bed and everything. And you would hear a noise, but not just a noise. Okay. Again, not some possum or rat running around. You heard a noise. So we kept hearing these noises every time. Now I'm talking about, I didn't stay there. I didn't live there. But the times we would go, and my cousins would say they would never come into the front kitchen at night. They stayed in the back. They were afraid to come up there. They were older than me. So there was a particular night we were there, and we were sleeping in that middle room. It was one of my cousins from another aunt, and he had spent the night, and it was me and I think one of my brothers or two of my brothers, I can't remember. And we were sleeping in the front room. Well, it was like 1:00 in the morning. Guarantee it. Somebody was washing dishes, and we heard this. I'm not making this up. I'm not making none of this up. But somebody was washing dishes. We heard it. We heard like a pot and pan move over and rinse. So as goofy and crazy as we were back then days, there was the sliding door right there, and nobody was going to open that door. I mean, nobody was going to touch that door. So what we did, we went around through the other door, which was leading to the hallways back there, and we opened that door and went out and came back around to the kitchen from the living room to see what was going on in there because there was no door there. And we looked, and as soon as we got where we could view, because of course we're not going over there, we're like peeking, and you're kind of a you first deal. And when we looked, everything stopped. We heard it when we was in the living room part, but everything just stopped. Nothing happened. And we were like, so we started going in there. There was nothing wet. There wasn't no water in the sink. There were no dishes in the dish thing. So, I mean, this place was haunted. And we were always hearing these noises, always. Whenever we spent the night, it was like, mom and dad would drop us off over there because they were always, who knows where they were going. But it was like trying to put us over there, like, you're going to spend a night at your aunt's. We're like, hey, whatever, so, I don't know. It was just a haunted house. And my cousins all say they got to where they started getting used to it. So, and I do remember somebody bought the Ouija board. They bought a Ouija board. So we spent, the plan was, the plan was, how kids were, we're going to get a plan. We're going to get this thing together, So we decided, let's go ahead, we were going to spend a night. I think it was on a Friday or Saturday. I don't remember what night it was, but we said, let's y'all spend a night, and then we're going to do the Ouija board, and we're going to see if this thing works. Because back then, we're talking about 71, 72. I mean, this is way back, So this is when Ouija board was Hasbro toy, or I don't know who the maker was back then. I don't even know who it is now, but this is back when the commercials were coming out. The Ouija board, and it was all kids smiling and everything, Years later, kids are all terrified of this thing, but back then it was when they were trying to sell the thing, market it. So we did that board, and we took turns. And at first, we were just asking questions, just playing around, is the weather rainy outside? Is it not rain? My name, my name is this, and what's the last letter in my last name? Stuff like that. We were just playing games. Then one of these fools, I don't know which one, it wasn't me, surprisingly, because normally it would have been. But one of these fools, somewhere down the line, decided, oh, I remember who it was. It was my cousin, Gibo. Gibo's gone now. He passed back a while, years back. He was in a fatal car crash, horrible car crash. There might be, hey, I'm just saying, man, he was in a seriously horrible car crash at no fault of his. So, but back then, he started asking questions. Who's in this house? Because he was one of those, he was crazy. He was always saying crazy things. We were always like, man, like he was always doing something, getting everybody in trouble, everybody but him. So there he goes, asking questions. So he started asking questions like, is there somebody in this house other than the living? Did you die in this house? Or why are you in this house? And when he started asking them questions, I'm not lying. My cousin had a dog, and it was a beautiful dog. It was collie? The one like Lassie? Those of you who remember Lassie, I'm sorry, but I'm thinking it's a collie. Beautiful dog. The dog was laying on the bed. Now, nobody else was there because my aunt and uncle and my mom and dad, they were gone. They were out, And this was probably about 11 o'clock. So, they weren't home yet. So we were sitting in there asking these questions, and my cousin Gibo started asking them goofy questions. Sorry. Then the collie stepped up like that, and them ears went up. The ears went up, and she looked at the door, and we looked at the dog, and we were like, "Okay." What we told one of us told my cousin, "What are your dog doing?" He goes, "I don't know. Apparently, she hears something." So now here we go. Who's going to breathe the brave one to walk down the hall all the way up to the front of the kitchen and see if we hear anything? So we all went. We went halfway there. And I'm not lying to you. Somebody put a pot or a pan in the cupboard at the bottom. We heard it. We all bolted back to the back room. Man, we sat and we closed that door. We were thinking, now what are we going to do? And we were all blaming Gibo because we were thinking that, man, you don't woke something up, So we started doing it again, asking questions. Do you mean anybody any harm in this house? He went to no. So we said, are you ever going to leave this house? No. We were like, now we're asking other questions. We asked, I think, one more question, and I don't remember what that question was, but I can tell you right now, we heard like a pan hit the floor. Boom! Everybody. I mean, if we all fit under that bed, we all got under that bed. I ain't lying, man. I don't even know where the dog went. But the dog wouldn't even go out. We opened the door, and my cousin told the dog to go check after we came out from under the bed. That dog wouldn't even go down that hallway. I mean, come on, a dog? That dog was scared to go down there. And we came out in the hallway later, we started thinking about, now we done put up the Ouija board. I mean, we probably burned it, but we put it up. We weren't going to mess with it no more. We went out there and looked in the hallway. Hey, nobody went to the kitchen. We went down the hallway and stopped, all of us halfway. That dog wouldn't even come out the room. And I'm going to tell you right now, if a dog don't come out the room, there's something wrong there. So at that point, it turned out that it got real quiet. Now we're supposed to sleep in that middle room up there, but we ain't none of us gonna sleep in that room. We're all like, it ain't gonna happen. So we waited. We were telling stories up there and watching TV, just trying to, happy stories, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs or something crazy, until the parents and everybody came home. But that house had a history. But it's not until we decided to play with that Ouija board that it sounded like it got aggressive. So I don't know much about a Ouija board, but I do know this, that a Ouija board has some kind of a sense in it, and I don't. Well, I know this saying. I feel this. I feel like it has some kind of a sense to it that it can manipulate your brain, maybe manipulate your feelings. I guess. So I don't know. Why don't you tell me what you think? What experiences have you had with the Ouija board? What do you know about the Ouija board? Have you known anybody who used it? Would you use it? You thought about using it? You want to use it? You sure? I don't know. But that's my experiences with the Ouija board. This is what I've learned. Gave you all that I could tell. I just wish that I would have had a medium step out and call in, and we could have had a conversation, and it would have been a lot more interesting. But I can guarantee you this: on our next episode, I have uh, reached out to a couple of people, and they are supposedly they're going to come on the show. I'm going to get with them again, and hopefully I can get with them. I'm going to tell you who they are. And if they don't, I mean, if it turns out that we just can't do this, that's okay. We'll try another month. But I don't know if any of you ever heard of the Curious Twins out of San Antonio. Victoria's, what was it? Victoria's Swan, Black Swan, Victoria's Black Swan, I believe it is. Okay, Victoria's Black Swan Inn. It's in San Antonio. They have a lot of events that go out there and everything. And I did correspond with them, and they said that they'd be more than happy to come on the show. So we're gonna try to do something with them. I'm gonna try to see if I can get this thing hooked up. I think I can. I'm pretty sure I can. But they do a lot of ghost tours all over San Antonio. They do a lot of cemetery walks at night and stuff like that. Look them up, the Curious Twins. There's a little thing there, and maybe you've already heard of them, maybe you haven't, but we're going to try to link up with them, and hopefully they should be on the next podcast. Unless something else comes up and they get busy, and I'll put another topic on there. I don't know. I'm just curious. I reached out to some of the ghost hunters, amateur ghost hunters. I mean, I don't know if there's a professional one unless they're from a university or anything. But I looked out for some of them that are uh, on the sites that I mess with, or not mess with, on the sites that I'm affiliated with. And I reached out and I asked for some people to tell me what they thought uh, of different tools that are used for ghost hunting, and what they use and what they feel is a better tool. Because I want to distinguish what is better. Something like dowsing rods, is that better than using, like, you know, I don't know, EMF or detector, I mean, I don't know, the different tools. I want to see which one is better. Which one do you think is the better one? Is it the high dollar tools? Is it the cheaper tools? Is it the electrical tools, or is it the non-electrical tools? What works best for them? So that, if you have an insight on that, reach out to me, because that's going to be another topic that I'm going to do, and it's going to be the what tools are worked out best for your team. And hopefully on that one, I can get a team that's going to be more than willing enough to step in and tell us what they use, tell us what they uh, have had the best success with. So I think that's going to do it for here. We're at about 32 minutes. I didn't mean to go that long, but we are that long. So thank you very much. Again, this is Slap. I am from Slap Recon, and be sure and follow Slap Recon. We are also on YouTube. We're on Facebook and Instagram, and who knows where else. Just Slap Recon, type it in, you'll find us. All right. And this is it. This is Explain Strange. And I really appreciate you guys who listened, and hope you follow and listen more and continue along. We are getting ready to order shirts. We're getting ready to have them. We're trying to get the design right, and we're going to order some shirts, and we will be passing out shirts for Explain Strange. So thank you again. This was episode 2 of the Ouija, and I hope you follow us for the next episode. And maybe, who knows, maybe you will be a part of that episode. Maybe you will be a part of the next episode. maybe you'll join me in making this next episode. Think so? See what you can do. See who you can. Hey, you almost got me. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Love you as always. And that's going to do it. And we will spook you later.